Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at yet another clip of someone getting upset when they were asked if they might need a second seat on a Southwest flight. In this story, the person got upset just by being asked if they might need a second seat. They didn't even have to buy one. We're also going to be taking a look at a bonus clip of someone else having an issue with Southwest's new customer of size policy, so be sure to stick around until the end. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
Good morning. I wasn't even going to make this
Good morning.
video, but I thought I should since I'm seeing everybody else's video and to share my experience with my used to be favorite flight company, Southwest. And excuse how I'm looking, I just woke up, y'all, and I'm feeling a little under the weather, but that's neither here or there. On March 12th, I flew to Fort Lauderdale through Southwest. I left out of New Orleans. And I take about 4 trips a year. And I always fly through Southwest. At least for the last over a year and a half. I've always flown through Southwest with no issues, no problem. And I always knew it was fat phobia in the world or big people phobia in the world, but it never got under my skin because I've been highly confident since I came out of the moon. Like, can't nobody tell me shit.
I like that. That's the way to be.
Anywho, but this particular experience really just rubbed me the wrong way, and I've been bothered by it ever since. Like, I've literally been looking into new flight companies, options, and stuff like that, which is very hard, I say, because. But anywho, I went to New Orleans to fly out. My flight left at about 8 something, so I was there about 5 o'clock.
Lily is having dreams. Dude, why is Lily always making noise when I'm trying to film? Flapping your ears, having little dog dreams. I hear her over there going, I know she's having dog dreams. Knock it off, Lily. We're trying to work over here.
I walked to the ticket counter. There's 3 women there in New Orleans airport for Southwest. They're talking, conversating, and things like that, laughing here.
They're conversating and all of that.
So the lady gets my ID and whatnot, and she said, "Okay, Miss Khadijah, do you think you'll be able to fit in a seat with the armrest down?" I said, "Yes, I've flown Southwest before."
Well, I mean, the fact that we've flown Southwest before doesn't mean that we can necessarily fit in a seat with the armrests down. A lot of people just squeeze in there and, like, they are physically in the seat, but they are spilling into the neighboring seat as well. Therein lies the issue, typically.
She was like, "Okay, I just wanted to make sure." Now, mind you, I've never had that happen to me before. You know, it was kind of just like a damn moment, and I was processing it, but I just kind of brushed it off, or whatnot. So, made it through TSA, was sitting. My friends finally arrived. We're sitting there conversating, probably about 30 minutes before we're about to board. Older lady come from the ticket. Mind you, she's been there the whole time. I've been sitting there, I don't know how long, waiting to board. Me and my friends laughing, having a good time, whatnot. And she comes and interrupts our conversation. And she's like, "Hello, ma'am, can I see your boarding pass?" So I showed her my boarding pass. She looked at it, and she was like, "Oh, and you're in preferred too." And she was like, "Okay, thank you." And she handed my ticket back. So she walks away, and I see her saying a little chitter-chatter to her coworker. And I'm looking at my friends. My friend looking at me like, "What the hell was that about?" I was like, "I don't fucking know." But I got an urge to go check and see what that shit was about because I didn't like that.
I wouldn't go ask what that was about because in one of the previous stories, when the person went up and asked, like, "Yo, what were you looking at my ticket extra for?" or whatever, that's when they made them buy a second seat. So I would just ignore them. I wouldn't go up there and ask them what that was about because then they might make us buy a second seat.
So I woke up, I was like, "Hey ma'am, excuse me, was there an issue or what was the reason behind checking my boarding pass?" And she was like, "Oh, well, I was trying to make sure you didn't need an extra seat."
Okay, but they didn't make you buy the extra seat and you're still upset.
Y'all, when I tell y'all, like, after that for at least like 30 minutes, I was trying to keep cool because I definitely don't want to end up on a no-flight list.
Yeah, let's not do anything crazy that makes us end up on the no-fly list.
But I was just like so mad. I was so offended. And
But they didn't make you actually buy the second seat. They just asked, and then you got offended and upset and embarrassed or whatever. At least they didn't make you actually buy the second seat. They just asked, which might be embarrassing, but it's a lot cheaper than having to actually buy the second seat.
like, I've never really just been triggered as far as by being a big girl, but I was triggered. I was triggered.
Right, but they didn't actually make you buy the seat, so that's cool, right?
And I was telling my friends, and I really did not want that to ruin me, getting ready to go on my trip. So I tried my best to brush it off. But y'all, Southwest, y'all got to do a better way. I truly understand the concept to make sure everybody is comfortable on the flight, but there's a better way of doing things.
Yeah, there definitely has to be a better way to do this. Southwest's current policy is to just go approach people and ask them if they fit into a seat. And you might be approached by several different employees at Southwest. It's not just one, it's not just at the gate. It could be over here, it could be over there, it could be on your layover. All of a sudden now you need a second seat. Like, they really do need to find a better way of doing this. They need a test seat that people can sit in and make sure that they will fit into one seat. And it needs to happen at one central location. We don't need to ask one person 5 different times if they will fit into a seat by 5 different employees. This can definitely be handled better. You need to hire me, Southwest. I've covered this story quite a few times. I came up with the test seat idea. That was me. Okay, you guys can go ahead and put me on the payroll any minute now. I will gladly work for you, Southwest. Let me straighten out this organization. You clearly don't know what the hell is going on over there, Southwest. Let me in there. Let me get in there, straighten this organization out. I'm gonna need like 200 grand a year. That's not a crazy salary. You guys got plenty of money. Maybe I shouldn't mention salary requirements in this video resume.
You guys have to be more professional because this is just getting out of hand.
Well, they didn't make you buy the seat, though. Or did they? Did they actually make you buy that seat, and that's why you're upset here?
And some of us don't even need an extra fee. I fit in a seat just fine.
Did they make you buy the extra seat? That's what I would like to know.
Okay, I've been doing it. So
if you did have to buy an extra seat and the flight took off and it was not full and there was an empty seat in your same fare class, you may be reimbursed for the cost of that extra seat. So essentially it's free. But that's only if the flight takes off and it's not full.
yeah, that was my experience. And
How many times am I going to tell the world about Southwest's policies? That's what I'm saying. You guys need to hire me, dude. How many times have I covered these stories and informed people about the new policy? I basically work for you now. In fact, I think you owe me some money.
it's hard because there's not really many options when it comes to flight companies nowadays because they're all pretty much whack.
Are they? Is United any good? What about Delta?
But guys, that was my experience. And I just want to share that. And I hope Southwest is truly taking heed to all these videos that I've been seeing with people experiencing the same thing
There are quite a few.
that I'm feeling because we pay just like everybody else. And we may pay a little bit more. Again, I say I take at least 4 trips a year. Guaranteed. So
Why is everybody flying all the time? What are you guys doing? Everybody's just constantly going on vacation. Everybody but me. What the hell? When was the last time I even went on a plane? Like 15 years ago? Oh, my life is pathetic.
yeah, I was hurt by that. And Southwest, you guys need to get your weight up.
What does that mean?
Thank you.
Okay, so in that story, she didn't even end up having to buy the second seat. They just asked her if she might need one, and she got upset. If you think it sucks just being asked if you might need a second seat, you really don't want to hear from all the people that actually had to buy a second seat. That one was strange. I don't know why they would go up to you and ask you if you need a second seat, but then not make you buy one. Next. The caption at the bottom says, Friday, March 13th, 2026. I believe that last clip that we just watched also took place on March 13th. It was actually March 12th, which happens to be a Friday. Friday the 13th. They got both of you on that same exact day. Things are getting freaky. Freaky Friday. I'm sorry. I should probably go, dude. You're probably sick of all my dumbass shenanigans. Okay. All right, I'm back. Let's do this.
Yeah, it happened to me too. Southwest, you would never get my money again. This is the final straw. So I've seen every video of other plus size passengers who have been discriminated, who have been targeted about their new customer of size policy where you have to buy an extra seat. So my anxiety was through the roof where, you know, I had upcoming flights. So my being me, I did my due diligence of calling, of getting two extra seats of my going and my coming back, because what I didn't want was someone approaching me and then I have to get out of character. But
Okay, so this person purchased the second seat ahead of time like they were supposed to.
you know, long and behold, I thought I was doing the right thing by being an example of just going ahead, getting out the way, nobody got to say anything to me. That's not what happened. So I flew out of Charlotte Douglas International Airport and I flew to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, flying from Charlotte to Nashville, shout out to Charlotte. When I went
Charlotte, hey. Sorry about that.
through Charlotte Airport, I told the gate agent I bought 2 seats. They didn't bother me. Cool. Got on the flight. No problem at all. It wasn't until I got to Nashville. I got there. It was basically like a 45-minute hour layover. I was sitting there, and I had my headphones on, had my shades on, you know, just chilling, vibing, whatever. The guy approached me, and he startled me, so I had to pause my music, and I was like, hello, and he was like, what flight are you on? Obviously, I'm on the flight to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm sitting right here at the gates, and I said, I'm on this flight. And so he leans over, and he said, are you aware of the new Southwest? I said, sir. I said, sir, no disrespect. Before you even go there, I said, yes, I'm aware. I've already bought the 2 seats. I said, so there's no need to explain anything to me. I'm aware. He said, okay, good. I said, do you need to see my boarding pass? Because at that point, I had both my boarding passes up where it showed I had bought the window seat and the middle seat. I'm a window seat type person. I don't like that aisle seat mess.
Okay, so you bought everything that you were supposed to buy. You're still getting approached by Southwest agents, and they're still going to give this person a hard time and make their trip a huge pain in the ass. Watch.
So he goes back to the 2 gate agents, and I'm watching them having a conversation about me. So they were like, oh, so he did buy 2 seats. What's his name? And so I'm sitting there watching them having a conversation with me. He comes back over to me and said, can you pull up your boarding? I said, yes, sir. I said, you see right here, 3F, 3E, window and middle. I said, my name is Isaac Smith. He goes back over to the gate. They are whatever, to the other gate agents, whatever they were doing, they was looking up in the system, cool, whatever. Once again, they're still having a whole conversation about me. The ticket agent, the one that's at the counter, she was all the way down at the other end. She comes all the way to where the gate is and said, did he buy 2 seats? I just want to make sure.
Dude, how many people are we involving in this? This is the most, haphazard, dumb way of handling anything. Nobody at Southwest seems to know what the hell is going on. All the different employees are not passing information from one person to the next. You have to prove that you bought 2 seats to several different employees. I don't know, man. They definitely can handle this better. And it's messed up that you did what you were supposed to do and you're still having to deal with this.
And then the guy comes back over and said, we're going to change your reservation to show that you are the ticket holder of those 2 tickets.
Why? I already have my tickets. Leave me alone. What are they even doing at this point? Like, you bought your tickets. Can you just be left the hell alone to go fly? Like, oh, we're gonna move them. We gotta rename the seats. They gotta both be in. What do you mean they gotta both be in my name? Of course they're both in my name. I bought them. What's happening?
And I said, why? When I've already went through the hassle of calling customer service and buying these seats way before.
Yeah, why does anything need to change? Why do you guys need to harass this person at all? What is even going on?
He said, well, instead of you buying it individually, you need to buy it together.
No, I don't. I have 2 tickets and they're right next to each other. I don't need to do anything else. You guys need to get away from me. That's what I would say. I would say, actually, I have 2 tickets. I can literally just go and sit there and go to my destination. I don't need to do anything else. These don't need to both be under the same name. Shut up and get the hell away from me. That's what I would say. Sorry, this story is actually getting on my nerves. This person did what they were supposed to do, and Southwest still won't stop harassing them.
He told my next time. So that's like the 3rd time he came over there.
Why? You already have what you were supposed to get. Why?
So he went back over there. Mind you, they're still having a conversation about me. So I get a notification on Southwest that my boarding has been changed.
Oh, dude, that is annoying. You're like, dude, I don't need you guys to change my seats at all. Your phone is like, beep, beep. You're like, oh, dude, you look at it. It's a text from Southwest. They're like, we just changed your tickets.
He goes to the ticket lady and brings me back a new boarding pass. The new boarding pass has 2 different seats on it. It has 2E and 2D, I believe. And it has an aisle seat and a middle seat.
That's not what you wanted, and that's not what you purchased.
I said, are these seats even together? So at that point, I got irritated because you done came over here 4 times and now it's time for me to get up. So I get up, I go over there and I said, hey, are these seats together? I said, because originally when I bought these seats, I bought a window and a middle seat, 3F and 3E. I said, y'all done switched me from a different row. Now I am 2D and 2E in the aisle seat. I said, I don't feel comfortable sitting in the aisle seat. I don't never pick an aisle seat because I don't want people brushing past me.
Yeah, of course. And what is Southwest thinking? They're like, oh, you can't fit into one seat easily. Let's put you on the aisle seat. That's really smart, Southwest. They were in a window seat, so they couldn't spill that way, and they could only spill into the empty seat in the middle, which they had purchased. Now, you put them on the aisle, so they're spilling into the aisle and into this seat here. It's fine that they're spilling into the second seat that they bought here, but it's not fine that they're spilling into the aisle because, as they said, as people walk by, they're going to brush into them. Southwest acknowledges that some people don't fit into one seat, but they don't acknowledge that they could spill into the aisle at all, and that could be an issue. No, that could never be an issue, right? This whole thing is so dumb. Like, you had it all worked out ahead of time, and they just started getting involved and screwing everything up. What the heck? Why did you have to have both tickets bought at the same, or whatever stupid nonsense? You had 2 tickets in your name, and everything was fine. You could have gone and sat in them.
I don't want people to do that. No.
Obviously, you don't want the aisle seat if you might be spilling into the aisle some. We're trying to avoid, like, rubbing into other people, right, Southwest?
I know how my body is structured, so that's why I go ahead.
I know how my body is structured, too.
And get a window seat. The lady gonna sit here and tell me, well, yeah, the seats are beside each other. As far as us changing it, there's nothing we can do about that.
What do you mean there's nothing you could do about that? You could have not changed my seats at all. They were fine. I was going to sit in the window seat, and part of me might go into the seat next to me, which I had also purchased. So everything was fine. You guys have actually turned this into a worse situation by putting me in the aisle. That's dumb.
What do you mean there's nothing you can do about it when originally Those were my seats.
Yeah, who did you give this person's seats to?
Y'all could have just left me alone.
Yes.
Like, I already told the man I bought 2 seats. Y'all could have just left me alone. I just felt like they went out their way to prove a point.
I don't know what point they're trying to prove. This whole situation is dumb. He bought the extra seat that he was supposed to. Leave him alone. Once he was like, yeah, I bought the extra seat and showed it to you, you guys should have left him alone from then on.
I just felt like they went out their way. And mind you, I ain't gonna tell you the color of their skin because you already know.
All right, I'm not going to say anything about that.
I just feel like they went out their way to prove a point, to show people, yeah, he's big, yeah, he needs 2 seats.
I honestly don't know what they were on about. You already had 2 seats. They don't need to prove any point. They're just being annoying and putting you somewhere you didn't want to be and somewhere that's actually not better for everyone. If we're spilling into the aisle, now we're making the situation crappier for everyone all the way around. So good job, Southwest.
But I already did my due diligence way before. I called customer service the day before and got my 2 extra seats.
Yeah, why didn't customer service tell you, actually, these both need to be under your same name at the same time? Whatever goofy stuff they said at the Southwest desk. Why didn't customer service tell you that?
And I just felt like that whole having a conversation about me in front of me, that whole coming to me 4 times, that was unnecessary. Southwest.
Once you showed them that you bought an extra ticket, they should have left you alone. I cannot believe they kept coming back and switched your ticket. Why? Why did you guys do that? I told you I want to sit by the window. That's why I bought that with my money. That's where I want to sit. What are you guys doing?
That was unnecessary. Southwest, you need to do better.
I actually agree with this person in this case. Yeah, do better, Southwest.
Because this just shows that y'all don't care about people. Y'all don't.
It just shows the lack of organization and professionalism by the employees. Nobody at Southwest knows what the heck is going on. Like, every employee has a different idea of how to enforce this new policy, and various different employees that work there are going up to people and talking to them about this when we should just have one designated person. We don't need every single employee at Southwest to remind people to buy a second seat. There doesn't seem to be any organization, like one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing over there at Southwest. Every employee is on a completely different page, and they're all enforcing this new policy differently.
Care about people. Y'all don't have human decency. Y'all don't have companionship for people.
Compassion, I think he meant to say.
I don't care. All y'all care is about this. But then when someone does do this, it's still not enough because you're still embarrassing people.
That's not cool at all.
You're still showing that, oh yeah, regardless of whatever, we're still going to show you we're the big guy. But no, I didn't appreciate that. And then I did my due diligence of calling customer service. The lady called an attitude with me and said that there was no possible way I could get a refund because apparently in the system where they changed it, apparently they gave me the seat for free. How, ma'am? When I told her, I said, ma'am, there's no possible way they gave me the seat for free. I said, I have my bank statements. I have the...
They're like, we gave that to you for free. And you're like, no, you didn't. I bought that. I literally have it on my bank statement. What are they talking about?
Card. I have everything. There's no possible way. When I tell y'all, Southwest would never get my money ever again, this will be my first and last time.
I don't blame you. The way they handled this situation was ridiculous. They literally didn't even need to get involved. You had everything that you were supposed to have. They could have just left you alone, but they didn't. Like, this situation is dumb.
So I don't know what other airline somebody need to recommend me to, but this is it. I promise you. It's ridiculous. Like, I never experienced nothing like this. And what's so crazy is I've seen the videos. I've seen so many videos of plus size customers go through this. And I said to myself, I'm not going to go through it. I'm not going to go through it. But guess what? I was a victim too.
Okay, so in this story, he did everything that he was supposed to do, as we just heard. He bought the second seat, he had everything he was supposed to have, and Southwest still gave him a hard time. Several employees came up and asked him if he bought the second seat, and then when he said he did, that wasn't good enough. For some reason, they changed it. And like I said, they switched him from a window seat to an aisle seat. So if we're concerned with people spilling outside of the boundaries of their seat, why would we put them in an aisle seat so that all the people walking by we can like rub together? Like, I don't understand, dude. So that was actually really ridiculous. And in this scenario, Southwest does need to do better. I don't understand how they were like, these tickets need to be purchased together. Like, he didn't buy them together. They were bought separately. Who cares? They're next to each other, and I am the owner of both of them. So we're really just splitting hairs for no reason and screwing around and then moving my seat for no reason. That story made me mad. So in the first story, the person didn't even have to buy a second seat, but they were offended that they got asked about it. And in the second story, that was total bollocks, mate. So what do you think of the clips that we just saw? Leave a comment below. Happy Thursday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.